Word of prayer. Father in heaven, thank you for this evening, for the opportunity to continue to study, to understand the word. We ask, O God, that you will enlighten our minds, that we will leave here with further clarity as to the history that your people have played in the civilization of this world and within scriptures. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And Pastor, if you have the slide deck, you can load that if you can, if you have access to it. That way it'll make it easier for me to go through the slides.
Okay, I think you sent me those on WhatsApp.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. If I can get, all right, here we go. How do I do this now? Okay. All right, there we go. Slideshow. Okay, play from the start. Okay, let me see now. I'm trying to see how I can share it with everyone. Since it has taken up my entire screen, so let me just figure out a way to do that. Okay, you cannot see the slide, I'm assuming.
I can't, I just see full your profile. Only you, I don't see the deck.
Okay, trying to figure out when I open it. Let me see.
Maybe if you give me a chance to share screen, then I could
Yes,
open up.
you can share screen. You're a co-host.
All right. So I'm sharing. I think I'm starting to share at the moment. Do you see the deck? It says you're screen sharing.
Okay, so tell Zoom to, what do you call it? Share via Zoom. Let Zoom grab the what you call it?
Do you see now?
Let me see. I am seeing, I'm not sure if this is mine or yours.
It's telling me that you're screen sharing.
Oh, I'm still no. Maybe I need to drag this over. Stop my screen sharing then, if I'm understanding it. Okay, go ahead. I'm trying to get Zoom up. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
And
Let me see why I can't see it. I have Zoom opened, but something is off. I'm not seeing what I normally see.
I'm wondering if anyone in the audience, like Katie or Natasha, can or Roger can can indicate if they can see the slide deck. It should just be a photo of of this caption with water waves. It should be
Yes, I can see it.
okay. So the audience can see it. So Pastor, we can just dive in.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome. I mean, look, I'm privileged to join this study. My name is Dr. Wilton McDonald. I'm fourth generation Adventist, and I'm based in Poland. My wife is Polish, and that's what's brought me here. My parents are retired Seventh-day Adventist missionaries. My dad was a conference president, and they're both in the Caymans. My mom is a retired teacher. In fact, I was born in the Bahamas, so I consider myself Bahamian. And my parents worked there for about 10 years before moving to Cayman. My mom used to teach at Bahamas Academy. And with Pastor Williams, it was a pleasure to attend Northern Caribbean with him. So it's comes to that my presentation will be focused on history. I'm a lawyer in about 7 countries. I'm a British CPA. I'm doing a third PhD focusing on Black history, and it's something that has really struck me, and I am really doing my best to have it conform to the scripture. I'm not deviating. I am still a Seventh-day Adventist practicing one. And now with what I'm hit with the books written by Dr. Marie Charles. She is St. Lucian and she is Irish. She lives in the Europe. She's written 20 books. It's just not my take. I think a lot more people are waking up to the fact that we have a rich history. Growing up in Cayman was not easy. Even to this day, I still am not a Bahamian citizen. I will try to apply again. I am not, but I still have hope that I will be one day. I'm turning 50 this month, April. But Cayman was not easy. Cayman is considered a very rich place. So really walking around the Cayman Islands, and if I say this, you'll understand, but I was an undocumented African. Again, I repeat, walking around the Caymans, a lovely place, and I still consider it home too. I was considered an undocumented African. That's it, just an African. Nothing wrong with being Africa. We all came from Africa. But I basically had no rights. I had no citizenship for 26 years. My first citizenship I acquired as a Caymanian finally when the laws were made easier for persons like myself. My parents acquired the Cayman and British citizenship, and then I became a British citizen too at age 26. By then, people got all the scholarships in the world. My grades, I mean, I started university at 14. Didn't matter how well I performed. It was really troubling. I was able to do a lot of things with God's help. I was able to do a lot. I'm on degree number 9, but I amassed information. I don't consider myself the smartest, but again, I don't do too badly when I consider, again, what God has helped me to accomplish. But by reading um, and studying and praying and meditating, I am not a pastor. I am a lay person. I used to teach Sabbath school and I lectured. But, it really is sad. I was an undocumented African with no citizenship rights, no rights to scholarships, no rights to placements. All of the friends were out, about, doing, having 2, 3 scholarships, even money left over for school, for spending and gallivanting. I had to work, and don't, I look, it passes the past. I'm turning 50 this month, but it helped to make me who I am. And when I was at NCU, Northern Caribbean, with Pastor Williams, he was a student there back in the early 90s. Um, I met up with other students. There are many people from Bahamas, and they told me there was time in Bahamas. If you're Black, you could not walk down Bay Street. And that really bothered me because even in the Caymans, as much as the laws were difficult towards expats, there was not a time that we could not walk in certain places. But again, you can tell me if it's true or not. At a time in maybe 30s, 40s, maybe almost 80, 100 years ago, one could not, being Black, walk down Bay Street, the central street in Bahamas, which is shocking. So this empowered me to just explore my name. It's MacDonald. And today, the whole of the Clan MacDonald land is up for sale. It has never happened before. It is for sale. If you have like $1 billion, you can buy the 50,000 acres, the castle, and everything, as they say, was white Scottish in Scotland. It is for sale. There's a lot that's going on today. And as I just want to summarize for you a presentation, because there are many people coming out. These are second, third generation. This person I wrote to, and this will encapsulate my talk and what I'm going to say today. And it does with brotherly love. My wife is white. 20 years I'm married to a white Polish woman. In some ways, I think she said she's the blackest white woman I've ever met, but she's white. She's an Adventist, and we're living in Poland, but she's not easy. My dad, his grandfather, his maternal grandfather, Mr. George Potts, was white as well in Jamaica. So I have not a problem with race. I'm a triracial man. I have triracial kids. I have a white wife. I have many in-laws that I even support today. But this is about facts because when you're in class, when the teacher gives you a problem, 2 plus 2, you just cannot make it up. Color may be an issue, but it is not the only issue here. And that's what I'm driving up, being a purist, being someone who regards and respects truth. And we are talking every day about truth, about what it is to serve God in spirit and truth. And that's what I'm after. You cannot, as a student, put down on the paper 2 plus 2 equals 10. 2 plus 2 equals 50. No, 2 plus 2 is 100 tomorrow. I don't know what it is. Truth is truth. And the Bible even says it cuts stronger and deeper than a two-edged sword. So it is that Mr. Stewart, you all know the Butch Stewart, he's now passed. He owns sandals in Jamaica, and they employ many people there. I responded because he had a podcast. He was glorifying his dad, all the accomplishments that they made as stewards. Whether they're real stewards or not, King James Stewart, who gave us the Bible, you must know, based on all what I've read, and Dr. Marie Charles, who is the academic here. She's a former teacher. As I said, she's St. Lucian and Irish. She lives in the UK. I bought 5 of her books. One of her books, and I can actually just show it to you, Dr. Marie Charles. She has written, maybe if you've seen it, a disabled background, but Dr. Marie Charles has written 20 books on history. And she has confirmed that our Black king, the one who gave us the Bible, and that would be the fuller version. And that's maybe a subject for another day about the full Bible. I respect the Bible, and the Bible is the canon, the Holy Scriptures. But we know that people have taken out, even Revelation speaks to it and warns those who take things out of the Bible, who God will add the plagues to them. God will take their names from the book of life. That is a word in the Bible at the end of Revelation as a warning to those who mess with the scriptures. But in this case, I would say Brother James. I affectionately call King James in 1611 Brother James. What did he do? He gave us the Bible. It was more than 66. At the time, it was 80 books. Now, a lot of theologians will go back and forth about it. The Ethiopians today, for me, and the Rastafarians, as you call them, I don't condone any other things they do, as in the smoking department, but they worship and appear to worship the real God in spirit and truth. And based on all my travels, 120 countries, 7 continents, taking my DNA kit around, I have found that, the people in Middle East, even North Africa, were Black. Just 300 years ago, there were Black melanated people. And God is, in fact, a melanated person. He's a spirit. I know spirit and truth, but as far as I could see and tell, he truly is a melanated Black God. So my response to Mr. Stewart, because Adam Stewart has taken over the empire, there are trillions of dollars. Many, many poor Black Jamaicans working for the empire, but Mr. Stewart, I'm not even probably a real Stewart because King James Stewart was Black. The King James who gave us the Bible in 1611 was Black. I need you to know this because it's been verified by academics like Dr. Charles and others. So he was running on about they have built a big empire that his father, his papa would be proud of. Mr. Gordon Butch Stewart is now deceased. God rest and bless his heart. They employ a lot of people, a lot of native Black Jamaicans. I don't know if they pay them that well, but there it goes. He was talking about how the empire's grown to $1 trillion plus. The value of sandals is over $1 trillion. While our wages decrease in an inflationary environment, just the rich appears to be getting richer. So I replied to him openly in LinkedIn, because I'm connected on LinkedIn, the business portal. And this will summarize and encapsulate what I'm trying to say about history. And I said, this is the real corporate history. Corporate responsibility in light of our Black biblical history. He says what's going to drive the business is their ingenuity, their business prowess, how smart they are, how great they are in hospitality and knowing what people want and desire to provide for all their needs as his hospitality industry would require. I said in response, I said, Adam, and his name Adam Stewart. He's taken over the keys of the kingdom from Papa Stewart, who gave him everything. Trillions of dollars, US, not Jamaican dollars, trillions US dollars. What's going to help drive the future, Adam? It's true Black Hebrew biblical history. The indigenous Black people are now reclaiming their history, rights, and properties on a global scale. And I do represent as a lawyer indigenous in Oceania, in Australia at the moment, and New Zealand and that part of the world. So I know what they're claiming. I know what they are seeking, native title rights as indigenous people, like we ought to claim as well. The hard truth is that 8% whites, that's out of 8.2 billion today. It's not 50%, it's 8% whites today. They are mere caretakers of formerly Black-owned lands for over 200 years, as I can see it from my research, 5 years of research, doing a third PhD. According to Ben Franklin's 1751 essay, 1751, near 300 years ago, 20 books published by Dr. Marie Charles, the academic who has published, again, 20 books on Black history, showing that Blacks lived in Europe, not just in Africa, in Europe in the 1800s. And many sources coming out. For 300 years, the planet was around 99% Black, and the global population then was only 650 million. So around 300 years ago, you can fact check with the CIA reports and United Nations demographical data, it was around 650 million people living 300 years ago, and it was about 99% Black. A stat that they want to hide because it's not something that they're proud of and want to disclose. Because after all, they're in charge. They are in charge of our planet as we know it today. For 200 years, Black people whom are non-African, mostly non-African origin, have been exploited. And in the 1700s, the planet was 99% Black. The white percent, believe it or not, they were not indigenous anywhere but to the Caucasus and Ural Mountains in Asia, including my wife. And it's something I don't speak lightly of because my father's maternal grandpa was white, Mr. George Potts. My wife, Ewelina Sadurska, Polish, is white, 20 years. So I don't take pride. This is just fact. Fact is fact, and I can't dress it up. The meteoric rise of that 1%, was it due to divine intervention or some other force? And that's a question we need to ask and address. We know Yeshua, his name was Jesus. He was a Black person and not fair skin. And having been to the Middle East, having been to North Africa, I know from Tunisia, Algeria, my trips, the people there were actually Black 300 years ago. Now Blacks are waking up, and once fully woke, they will realize that they're truly leaders of this planet for the last 5,800 years. The planet will shake. And right now, I told Adam, I said, the Clan Donald in Scotland, they're selling off everything, 50,000 acres and more of clan-owned land. Why sell now while the former Black Jacobite, Jacob from the Bible, whose name was changed to Israel, the Scottish people were called Jacobites, and most of them don't know where it comes from. We know in Christendom, it comes from the Bible. While they're asleep, sell that land. And I asked them, what is Sandals Group going to do now before people wake? Truth now.
Please finish his presentation.
And truth now before pain happens. So let me just go to the presentation. I'll just go through the slide deck. I'll have an opportunity to answer some questions. But let me let me go through. I'm still sharing. I'm just trying to maximize the screen. Okay.
You lost them?
If you can go with me, bear with me. Okay, if you're still seeing it, fine. This is the presentation I prepared for school, for university. A deeper dive. Having been a Kamanian, I was exploring Kamanian history over a 6,000 year period because the 6,000 year period is biblical. You can do the genealogies yourself from the book of Genesis going to the New Testament. There's roughly 60 generations. And again, I leave it to pastor to fact check this about 60 generations. I know there are different accounts depending on the Gospels, but based on the genealogies, there are approximately 60 generations to Christ, to a Black Christ. And Dr. Jeanson from Harvard has put this to a scientific study using the Y male chromosome mutation rate, where it mutates 1 to 2 differences per year. He was able to establish that humankind has been around for 6,000 years. So it is, let me get into the presentation. I have the image of the Great Flood, waters from below and above, which flooded the earth. And a quote from the movie The Matrix, that there's something that it's about the world and you could feel it, but you don't know it. So it is. What is it that's about the world that you sense that it's not what it appears to be? I am giving some world stats showing you that the population was around 150 million during the time of Christ, and it shot up to near 8.2 billion today. But in the last 300 years, we added around 7.5 billion people in roughly 300 years. This is a meteoric leap in our population. So it is. We must understand that. These are just some further stats concerning the native indigenous whites. That's according to them, that their numbers grew very slowly and it was disproportionate to the world population. But they just crediting, if you look at Wikipedia, don't look to Wiki, look to the United Nations, which I do. United Nations proper stats to show that globally, they don't have whites and their percentages beyond 400 years because they were in the 1%, insignificant. So I was just talking about the numbers. Never go to Wiki, go to primary sources, more authentic sources. Now, this is something we all know. This is something where the Adventist Church has championed, and I believe in it. This is the prophetic timeline. We were given 4 major kingdoms. Babylon, head of gold. This is what the Adventists preach. That's what we preach. Around 600 BC, these were literal kingdoms. Modern day Iraq. Medo-Persia, 538 thereabouts BC. Modern day Iran, the Persian. The Greeks, the Romans, and now future. What we don't realize and may not realize, because yes, I'm a lawyer and I've studied EU law. The European Union became an autonomous body, literally just in 2009. Each year they ratify and strengthen the treaty. Legally, they became a separate autonomous entity in 2009. So for those who may think, oh, well, this prophecy is ticking, it's thousands of years and Jesus hasn't come yet. And you know the story, as it was told, a stone cut from the mountain smashed the image by its feet, the current kingdoms and the tribes that conquered Rome. Now, one academic, this is to tease your brains. These tribes that conquered Rome, they were black. All these people were black. Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, all black people. And the tribes, what do we know? The Alemanni, the Lombards, the Visigoths, the Franks, the Saxons. They didn't defeat Rome with slingshots and rock stone. Are you kidding me? They were sophisticated black people. So they defeated Rome around 476, thereabouts, about 405th century. What do we know about the Gregorian calendar change? According to one scholar, we're told in the Bible that the beast system, call it Vatican, whichever name you want to give it, the beast system, they're seeking to change time and laws. And I always wonder, I know they changed laws. They kicked out books out of the Bible. They did what they want. They dress up history. But what about time? Time itself. How do they change time? I mean, we have daylight saving time. Do you really feel it? The clocks went forward in Poland just two days ago. Did they feel it? The rumor is that, and this is what that when in 580, remember the world was in turmoil, Rome was toppled, and 100 years from the fall of Rome, we know the papacy took over. The Catholic Church, the papacy took over the world. What do we know of the lives of those 10? And it wasn't really 10 because 3 were sacked. This is biblical. Pastor could address this. 3 horns were uprooted. These were the 3 of the 10 that sacked Rome the worst. They were uprooted. They were decimated. They were destroyed as revenge. And there was really 7 left. Today, the Franks are powerful. Modern day Francia, France. But what do we know of their lives? What do we know of their history? What the Vatican may have done was added a 1 before 580 and made it 1580. Now, that is something we could dwell on forever because in the last 300 years, we moved from the horsey, the mule, the donkey, our feet as transportation, and we just decide to just go on wings. When we have engines, we exploit carbons. We're in the supercomputer age. Our world has been transformed in so many ways 300 years ago. Our population was black, and it went from 650 to 8.2 billion. We went from a basic society with hardly any modern day convenience to the super age in the span of the last 100 years, in the span of definitely 300 years. So what do we know of the lives of these tribes that defeated Rome and that 1,000-year gap that they labeled the Dark Ages? That's another topic for another day, but I just wanted to, are we living in the 11th century or the 21st? Now, there's so much evidence coming out about our history. There are manuscripts talking about how they described the whites. And again, I don't enjoy it. I'm just feeling that motivation. It's based on my heritage, based on my background, based on what I have labored and suffered. And I don't claim to be suffering more than most, but what I went through, it was not easy. And this is how the whites are described in texts. Their color is white, their hair is long, they lack sharpness and delicacy of spirit or intellectual capacity or perspicacity or perspective. They're nil, ignorance, reasoning, boorishness. This is taken from texts outside the English language. The Kitab Tabakat, it's Muslim sources. I read outside English. A lot of the English sources don't have that. Now, Dr. Marie Charles, Ben Franklin is a guy, he's on a $100 bill. The most famous essay about what he said. In 1751, he said that the number of pure whites in the world is proportionably very small. In 1751, our population was 650 million. Behold, Dr. Charles came up with a portrait, and she found a portrait of the real Ben Franklin. They loved to wear wigs. That was not their real hair. But you see, the guy on the right, $100 bill, forget it. Forget it. George Washington too, another farce. There were 5, 6, maybe 7 black presidents before Obama. George Washington was black, but he couldn't claim his kids because he was a white person, supposedly. And Ben Franklin is not the man on the $100 bill. And this is what he said in fully about the number of whites. And he goes into detail, paragraph 24. All Africa is black or tawny, darkish, yellow. Asia, tawny. America, exclusive of the newcomers. Europe, Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes. Swedes? Those people are the blonde hair and blue eyes. Come on, everyone want a Swedish babe? The Swedes are black. Swarthy complexion, Germans, Saxons. So he was writing about the world in 1751. Holy, holy black. So we're told about the African story. This is Dr. Marie Charles. If you want to have a picture of her, this is her. I love her. She's greatest scholar, retired teacher. She's published 20 books showing that blacks were taken from Europe in the 1800s. They were transported as slaves. We took our names. Can you find one community? No, I'd like one community which is African speaking. Just one. A tiny village, a town somewhere in the back of Louisiana, in the back of Haiti. One town that speaks of African language. We speak many European language because, guess what? We were European. We are European, a lot of us. Native Americans, real Americans, the so-called, my mom is an Indian. So again, I take that very seriously. She's an Indian from India, South India, Madras, called Chennai. The Indians today, the one that they claim are Indians, that Trump is even questioning, they were taken from Mongolia, and brought to America in the 1800s. A lot of things happened. My PhD must focus and focuses on the 1800s, the 19th century, because that was a century of massive change. Black changed to white. And a lot of changes happened. They kicked out the books of the Bible then. 30 books were removed in the 1800s. And the Mongolians came to America. And they were taught at 2 colleges how to become Indian. But the natives were black. And so it is that we have a picture. And the little girl, this is my thing with Jesus. Now, we have many stories from the General Conference. And I don't mean, I love the church. I'm a practicing Seventh-day Adventist. But I asked them, why is Jesus this color? The little girl asked the question, Jesus, why are you white? Because I'm a psychological tool creating the image of a white God that subliminally ingrains the myth of a white superiority into the subconscious minds of people of color, us. This makes you more compliant with our white dominance over our lives. And that is fact. Columbus, we know of him. If he really came when he came because of this period of the Gregorian calendar change, I believe Columbus existed, but he was a brother. That painting was done in the early 1800s by white people. This painting was done of Columbus. This map of Jamaica, I was an undocumented African growing up for 26 years. This is a map of Jamaica. I had to pay for this, and my researchers found this in Scotland. Not in Jamaica, in Scotland. It contains places where all the black McDonald's and black Europeans that I've found, I have 150 cases in my study, and I study whites as well, but the black ones, St. Elizabeth is not here. And St. Elizabeth is a place where a lot of whites were born. It's not here. Even the place that my mom was born, Clarendon, not here. These are Scottish names. This is coming from the Scottish archives. And these are places that my dad was born in Fort William. It's of significance. Scotland, it doesn't exist anymore. I visited it. It's a place that used to be the stronghold, refuge when the English were fighting. The Black English were fighting the Black Scots. Again, the Black English were fighting the Black Scots. I could say that many, many times, and that is the case. And Fort William is featured here on a 400-year-old map, 1620. Around 1620, when the Spanish were defeated, they took over the island, the English, the Black English, and they renamed villages and towns. And my father and his father before him were born in Fort William. And the story about Kunta Kinte is false. Alex Haley's name is not even Haley. It's Bao. It's a German name, Black German, and he's a fraudster. Alex Haley of Roots. Roots is entertaining, but it's a fraud story. This is a painting I bought in Germany. Now, this is my best piece. I paid real money for it, and the people in Dresden, Germany, at the Museum of Ethnology in Dresden, Germany, they told me, well, Dr. McDonald, we don't know why the painting is not in public display. It was taken and painted in Warsaw, Poland. I live in Warsaw, Poland. It shows four kings. Very distinct painting. Each time I look at it, it's riveting. This was painted in 1706. Again, 1706, before Ben Franklin wrote his essay in 1751. The names, even a small child will be able to read their names in German underneath the rider. They painted it in Poland, and one academic said, oh, they were wearing blackface. Well, I heard of blackface, but I'd never really heard of black body. If you look carefully on the legs and the arms, you would see that they're black skin. And the two on the left were German. I have their names on Facebook. Everything I'm speaking about here, you could look at Twitter and Facebook, it's all there. The person in center stage in blue, his name is Augustus Strong of Poland. Again, King Augustus the Strong of Poland in the year 1706. They were performing in Poland. As you could see from his headpiece, it's the most elaborate. He was the king. He loved the color blue. That's the only thing that historians got right. He loved color blue. If you look at Wikipedia, you'll see the fake whitewashed image of Augustus, but the blue is distinct and the same. And the person on the right, remember I told you about blonde Swedes? Everyone's talking about Swedish blondes. The man on the right, it's Carl Gustav of Sweden. And he was a king, he was a prince then, but he became king of Sweden, of Black Sweden. Yes, so Sweden was black. This is my favorite piece, the Moor's Quadrille, as it's called. But Moor is a name that is to me derogatory, it's negative, almost like the N-word. And they try to use the N-word, but people, Niger with a single G, in ancient Hebrew and Yoruba, that means God, supreme being. It means authority. It's an actual place in Africa. It's a river in Africa, and there's nothing bad about it. But the Jim Crow of the last 100 years is demeaning black. Black is bad. Black is wicked. Black Monday, Black Friday. You wear funeral, you wear black. We are told to hate our blackness. And melanin is even worth more than gold. Again, today, per ounce, they're finding more uses for melanin. Melanin is a biochemical. It's not just in your skin, it's in your bones, it's in your brain. It makes you smell differently, you hear differently from melanin. It's God-given. We're made from the black earth of the ground. And some people would say, oh, well, the ground is red. In Jamaica, they have the bauxite. They make aluminum from it. Well, we know from the flood that the water came from above, the canopy, and it also came from below. Pastor can go into that and the subterranean channels of water and how the continents were, torn apart. That has all happened for the flood. Water was below and erupted. Today, most of the Earth's surface is water as we know it, but it was the natural color of topsoil is black, is dark brown, it's black. That's what we're made from. And so it is that I too went to another place this summer, which is Wales. If you go to Wales in Cardiff, UK, you'll see the imagery of the Roman soldiers. These weren't some brothers that they picked up from Africa because they felt kind of bored and they needed some backup and they went to Black Africa and took some brothers to Wales. These are just simply Roman soldiers. If you look at their faces, wide noses, thick lips, and they are in Roman suits and chariots. This is a carving on the wall all throughout Wales. It stands today. They didn't blow it up. Not yet. But many of the images I saw in North Africa when I went to Tunisia and Algeria and near Morocco this summer, I counted 400 pieces. They're missing noses, lips, so typical. Even images in UK, Charles II, they called him Black Boy, King of England. His face is missing. The Great Sphinx of Egypt, the face is missing. They do that and they think we could just turn, we don't care, but it does matter because truth matters. This is an actual carving of what Romans looked like. There were black people. Yes, and I took images, more images of them. The Romans disembarking, big noses. You could see it here. You could see it here. Brethren, this is carved in rock. This is the same imagery in Wales today. Today. And that is the face of a fellow brother. That is the face of a fellow brother, a Roman soldier carved in Wales. And other things that I took on my experience to, yes. Okay, I know the image on the right is not rated PG. I'm sorry for that. But the image on the left, this was taken in Algeria, in Tunisia. And the fake image on the left, the David, these were made 100 years ago. They're supposed to represent people living there. But the image in the fresco in the ground is a black person. And I know it's a little graphical, but that's a fresco I took a picture of. And they complained that they could not eat the food. Another art, but this is the images in Olmecs, South American Olmecs, we know, Olmec heads. And so it is that they complained to me that they could not eat the wheat in North Africa, even though their skin is pale. And when I went there, everybody had to do the tour in the morning because the temperature in the summertime, it's 105, sometimes 110 degrees. I know in Nassau and Cayman, it gets 95, 98, and people, oh my goodness, I need some AC now to blow on me. But yeah, in North Africa, it gets to about 100, 105, 110. And the cafes, they blow a lot of water. They spew water from big fans into the crowd to cool people down. Well, I love the color black, as my skin is. And I was wearing black shirts all around. I had no hat, I had no sunglass, I had no sun cream. Yeah, but this is me. I am fit for the temperature. So I said to myself, you all people would want us to believe that even Christ may not have been blue-eyed and blonde hair, but Christ looked like a person from North Africa, Middle East. Are you really, really trying to pull that one? Because they told me. I went searching for artwork and they said to me, Dr. McDonald, we don't have any current art of what our ancestors looked like. But you know what? The oldest shopkeepers told me, you look like our ancestors. They were called Berber blue men, Berber blue people, the Picts of Scotland, Picts. The Picts of Scotland were called blue people too. They had tattoos, but they were black people as well. Blue people. And yes, they told me they could not eat the wheat. The wheat gave them gas. Well, I said to them, sorry, you know what? You could not eat the wheat because you're fair-skinned North Africans. They're fair-skinned people. They used to be called Berber blue men. They still can't take the heat today because it's too hot for them. And they could not eat that wheat. Well, black people don't just eat bread. In Jamaica, they nyam bread. And I say they nyam bread because it doesn't bother us. Milk will bother us because guess what? We're not having any Neanderthals. I don't believe it, but we don't have any animal DNA. And I know it's not a separate subject. It could be sensitive to some, what Ellen White spoke about. But Ellen White wrote about the amalgamations. I always ask my dad, Dad, why did God send the flood? Too much, sexing going on and murder and killing. Why did God send a flood? Ellen White broke it down to us. And even today, the church, and I love and I adore the Adventist church. It's my people. I was baptized and I still am a member of the church. But why, when I see the medical files and I see the records where Ellen White, our prophetess, the founder, was a half black woman whose mama came from New Jersey, the Harmon Golds, the Gold family, why do they still beholden that she was white? Her last name was White. Her husband very well would have been white. But why is it that they show her? Shouldn't we worship God and accept it in spirit and truth? We all can go to our prayer closets. And I do go to my prayer closet. Let no one judge me. I am not a preacher. I'm not a prophet. I am simply a lawyer in 7 countries. I'm happy being a lawyer. I'm a teacher at times. But the fact remains is that we all have our spiritual battles and our spiritual journeys, and we are admonished to go to our prayer closet. But why will the church still show Ellen White as white when she was half black? I have her medical files. I posted on Facebook. I met pastors who had essays done on this subject, and they were told by the seminary, "Oh no, 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 don't go further with that." Why? Truth is truth. Because if you go to school and you tell your children, shouldn't they then be able to write 2 plus 2 equals 10? No, 2 plus 2 is 50. No, I disagree. 2 plus 2 equals 1,000. I don't care. I really don't care. So 2 plus 2 equals 99. So what is it? What is it? And it grieves me. It grieves me so much that I cannot sometimes take it. It's like a weight on my chest. I've been to school so many times, 11 universities. I don't claim to be the smartest person, but God has blessed me with gifts, with a brain I could put and think, and I can say 2 plus 2 must equals 4. 2 plus 2 must equals 4. So if this is not right, if the woman, and I've seen so many, my dad was not just a pastor, an ex-president, my dad was in charge of the Book and Bible House in Cayman. And he took home many books of Ellen White. And I remember, because I had that kind of memory, I could recall things that I read in a textbook. I could remember what the page even looked like, even if it had a watermark on the page. It's called eidetic memory. Maybe it's not so sharp as it used to be, but I finished a 5-year university program in like 2.5 years. And Pastor could tell you that. I went to university and finished up a 5-year program in 2.5 years. I was blessed with certain gifts, and I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted. So it is that when you look at different images of Ellen White, the noses are different, the lips are different, the skin color is different. And when she spoke about the rights of blacks, they sent her packing to Australia. Why? And she wrote a whole book in Sunnyside, Australia. I read it, and in that book, there's only one image of Ellen White. In a book that had so many photographs, I bought that book, the one that she wrote when she was in Sunnyside, Australia. This is our co-founder. They have one image of this lady. This is her book. This is her book, and they have one image in the whole book, yet they have images of every people and of the congregants and stuff, but they have one image of the lady, just one. And in that image, it clearly looked like something is off. She was not even facing the audience. She was looking away. And they can't show this person in the true form and true character of being a half-black mixed race woman. So it is that I have done a family tree DNA, and I have done family trees. And in Cayman, and this project, this slide deck was made for Cayman University because I'm showing what my ancestry is like. The undocumented African from nowhere who was born in the Bahamas, still to this day don't have Bahamian citizenship as yet, but I'm still trying. I'll probably apply next year again. But my mom is being Indian. My dad, yes, the dad, his paternal granddad was a white man, and his father was black. His father was a Hebrew. His father was non-African. My dad remembered that his dad sang old Scottish songs, didn't beat on a drum, and didn't walk around a campfire with some savage, looking around the place, well, that's what you are because you took it from Africa. Everything that was shown and he saw growing up would indicate that there was a connection with Scotland. Even the name Fort William and Westmoreland, these are places in England and the UK. Certainly Fort William is a place in Scotland. Today it still exists, but the old fort has been dismantled and the wood distributed to build railways and the like, homes, but the fort is still significant. and I went there and visited Scotland, and I took my dad there, and the whole Scottish lands are now for sale. And I sense that they sense that history is changing. The world is waking up as we examine ourselves closely. Again, not to create a heaven on earth. And there are many people, I joined so many groups. There are groups of Maroons and Sovereign. I don't mean to judge anyone. They dismiss the whole concept of Jesus. Yeah, in ancient Kemet, they had the images on the wall of some Osiris and Horus and all these things, and say, oh, well, the plan of redemption was announced more than 5,000 years ago. So if the people of Egypt and Kemet placed a precursor to the Christ on the wall, then what does that have to do with the coming of Christ? We embraced Jesus, and Yeshua came. He was on earth. He was our Savior. He was the lamb, the sacrificial lamb. But they dismiss the whole thing. Oh, he's not white. He didn't exist, and his image was on the walls of Kemet. And that grieves me, how our people could just throw away the baby with the bathwater, throw away the whole truth because it's that's disguised and made up. And they said, well, there's no way empirically Christ could be white, or even looking like the Middle East people who are fair skinned today, because even they were black 300 years ago. So truth is truth. You can't dress it up. The minute you try to dress up truth, it becomes a lie. It no longer is considered a truth. So it is that I just wanted to share my thoughts, and looking at the family trees and people in Cayman, Jamaica, all the families that were thought to have come from Europe, like the Kirkconnells, and more people. I have people looking at my Facebook feed, 47,000 views in 1 month. And maybe after this presentation, fine, go in one family tree site. I literally had 200,000 views in 1 month. Monthly stats that I get back, because people are hungry for that. And I said, we're not trying to create a paradise on earth. There's some of us that say we want to create a paradise on earth, and God doesn't intend that. Again, I let pastors speak to it, but we are just preparing for God's return. And I know, and I think that one of the deceptions that's going to come, and I'm warning, they're going to explode the truth. They have to, because it's so clear that even a 5-year-old could show you that it's false what they're portraying. And they're going to dress it up, just like Putin came out with the black icons and said, Eureka, Christ is black. Yeah, the Pope came with his little stupid look on his face and he was bowing. Yeah, these people, Daniel, Moses, they released the Russian icons. It's been 2, 3 years now that Putin did that in Russia. And they found out through a hack that Putin himself is haplogroup E. So when you're advanced in the science, like, I'm dealing with the haplogroups, it's a DNA group, and E is supposed to be African. Well, the E's, like myself, are the kings of Egypt. Napoleon Bonaparte of France was an E because he was black. Napoleon was black. Louis the 16th lost his head in France. He was black. The first 4 US presidents were black. All these people were haplogroup E. Mandela was black. Even bad Hitler of all people, Hitler was an E. Einstein, the world's smartest man, being Jewish, yeah, a real Jew, not the pretender types, the ones that are claiming to be Jews, Hebrews, but the Bible refers to as synagogues of Satan. That's a direct reference to those people that claim to be God's people, but they're not. I mean, Israel is the gay capital of the world, next to Bangkok. How do you figure that? So we have a lot of error, but we have to be able to sift truth from it. But I think in the end, what they're going to do too, and again, a warning to us in Christendom, they're going to dress up some black Jesus. I'm pretty sure of it. They're going to explode the truth in the world, and we have to be ready for that deception. They're either going to bring some alien drama, and it's not aliens. It's not bug-eyed aliens. It's just demons. Demons. People who have enhanced the civilizations of the world. They enhanced the antediluvians. They taught them all the science, metals, and crafts. They taught the Kemet and Egyptians, the Babylonians, and these people were bent. Nebuchadnezzar had to be humbled as a beast because he was just into himself. But the fallen angels have taught the civilizations, and no doubt in the last 200 years, when the knowledge has increased, the planet was given superhuman abilities and knowledge and computing power. Yes, it's nothing new under the sun. Like I said, so it was in the days of Noah. But what was in the days of Noah? There are, as Ellen White, our half-black prophetess, says, they were doing the amalgamations. Mankind has always been black. Book of Enoch is discredited. I don't even believe in the Book of Enoch. Angels can't procreate. And Noah was not white. Noah was black, like his father Lamech. And so it is that Noah waited 500 years to find a wife. Few of us don't realize that. 500 years he waited because of the genetic impurities and mixing. And yes, his sons would have been black on the ark, but the wives might have been mixed race, of course. That's where the entrance of our creative DNA came through, obviously, because of the wives of the sons of Noah. But the curse of Ham, it's foolishness. It presupposes that the people were white. And then all of a sudden, Ham laughed or did something homosexual with his father, and then the curse of Ham came about. That's as ludicrous as Book of Enoch, which to me is the non-canonical, never part of the canon. And so it is that we have to discern truth in our prayer closet with the help of our pastors and just prove and read for ourselves. And that's what I think. I think in the end, they're going to dress up some kind of black antichrist and present him. Say, oh, look, lo, he's in Syria today. No, he's in Iraq. And that's not going to be the case because what? We know that Christ, all eyes will behold him. We'll see Christ in his pure and gracious and glorified state as a spirit, but he also maintains a physical form. We're going to see the nail piercings. We're going to see that. So he has to have a physical form, which is melanated. We're of all the Negro butts and just, I mean, I am so filled with emotion when I see they actually had candy called nigger licorice and nigger grease and for your bicycle. And I looked at a Jim Crow museum. The things that melanated people, black people have to endure, it's only Satan that can come up with these things. No other single demographic has been subject to ridicule, torture, death, even castration. People were castrated, even white people were castrated at times, sympathizers, but their privates were never crushed. They were castrated and lynched. They were lynched and castrated, the blacks. There's something about the black race of God made in his image. And we say this to be truthful, to spread truth, to know who we are, and to prepare for heaven. Because the world is so bent and leveraged. There is no more value. As an economist, a lawyer, and an accountant, the world is 100 times over bankrupt. There's no peace, no heaven on earth. There's only a new world to live for and look forward to, and be careful of the deceptions. The deceptions when it comes to aliens, which are demons, and deceptions with finally they present the Black Christ. Because all of this must be true. Yes, it's true, but not in the way that you're going to tell us. We know our Savior is of that melanated sort of state, but don't tell us that he is in Egypt today. Don't tell us he's visiting DC today, because that's false. Because when the Savior comes, we have to go through the plagues, go through the time of Jacob's trouble, but we know that we have to look up. And when we see him, all eyes will behold him. So it is. I leave it with you, and I conclude my presentation. Thank you for listening. Open for questions. Thank you, and be blessed to all.
Good evening.
Yes, hi. Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, I'm doing good.
Okay. my question is like, you said that God is not white, but you don't know how God look. Nobody's know that. So I would like to know, how do you know God is black?
Okay, but God is black. We are made in his image, right? I mean, we are made in his image. And how do I know it's God is black? We are
Yes.
made in his image, and based on the numbers of black people that existed and are out there, it is just impossible for him to be anything but black, because black people have been on this planet for thousands of years. The whites have only come about in literally the last 500 years, literally from the 1%. When Ben Franklin wrote his essay in 1751, the planet was 650 million and 99% black. So how is it, I put it to you, that you think that God is white? From 99% black for 5,800 years, 99% black. How do you get a white God from that?
Another question. You said again, Jacob. They changed Jacob's name from Israel.
Yes, the Bible says that his name was changed to Israel. It says that. I mean, it says in the Bible that Jacob's name was changed to Israel. So Israel, the Israelites, the real Israelites and Hebrews are
Yes.
black people. They're black
Oh,
people.
you want to say something?
Yeah, I kind of do. Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You said that God was black,
You just said
right? No, absolutely. He's saying that God was black and that all the white people, they're like, for it to be superior, that's why they made him white. But nobody said that God was white. God literally came before everyone, before race, before culture, before ethnicity. So why would he be black instead of, I don't know, Asian, Arab? Why is it just specifically black when he was there before even black people exist? That's my question.
Well, I've heard a little version of what you're trying to tell me, and it says that colors doesn't matter because it's not salvific. So I've heard that. And I say to you in response, if it's not really important and salvific, we should use Christ because we want him to appeal to everybody today, because we have 8 billion people, 8.2 roughly billion people today of all colors and types. If we believe truly in that statement, and it's not a white agenda to enslave and empower the world with white supremacy, why don't we take Jesus, a Yeshua, and paint him a different color? So one Sabbath, he's Korean Jesus. The other Sabbath, he's Ethiopian Jesus. The next Sabbath after that, he's Chinese Jesus. But you know what? It never is the case. He is and I have read so many books until my eyesight is actually failing me now. I've read so many books. He's always shown as white, always depicted as white. So there is an agenda. And guess what? The people who run the DNA sites, the genealogy sites, they are mostly gay, bisexual, and Luciferian. And that's based on their profiles. I have seen hundreds and thousands of profiles. So the Christians, the Adventists, as it relates to those who do the publishing and book and Bible, and the people who guard the DNA ancestry sites. And most of them are gay, and again, I'm not speaking out against the gay, but they're not religious. They're actually satanic and cultic. They show demon signs on their sites, and they're the guardians. They're actually the curators and managers of profiles, of historical profiles. So if everyone, the world is singing from the same sheet and beholden to a white Jesus and white world, when 300 years ago we had 99% black going all the way back, Houston, we have a problem.
But
So, yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
but didn't the Bible say not to make any grave images about him? So why
We do,
does
but we do. No, the Bible admonishes don't make graven images, but we do. We do. We have illustrations of Jesus, or we have carvings. I mean,
but
what
shouldn't Christianity be about worshiping him instead of like
yeah, yes,
idolizing the
but
fact that
it
he's
also means worship. And I think what that text is, do not make an image. Like I don't have any image. Catholics do. They have images on their wall and they pray to it and stuff. I do not make any images. It means to worship. What I think this commandment meant, don't make any graven images of any gods. Don't put any images and pray to it, because God is spirit and I pray. I have my own prayer closet. I don't need a father like Father Thomas or someone to tell me I'm absolved. I pray to God and I seek forgiveness, and I don't put anything on my wall to pray to. But we do have to illustrate. I mean, we learn through books. So books is a form of illustration. So we document, but I don't pray to the book. When I look at the image of Christ, I don't pray to it. I don't worship it. Only one person, entity, is to be worshiped, and that's God. I didn't open this door. I didn't open this door. I am just simply telling you and telling the world that what has been painted and portrayed is a white supremacist satanic. It has to be demonic and satanic, because
okay.
there's no other way to even dress it up. Someone had to do this and make this change for it to happen, and it wasn't Christ. I'm pretty sure it's not Christ that did this. All the Freemasons, and if you study the cults and Freemasons, they achieved all their goals, the Zionists, in the 1800s. All of this was done in the 1800s. All of this, not by God-fearing people, by demonic Freemason people. And Albert Pike, who's a Mason of Masons, he said, when you reach the 30th degree, your God is Lucifer. I didn't say that, okay? I didn't say that. Albert Pike, the Mason of Freemasons, he said, once you reach the 30th degree, and why 33 is their top? Because God died, Jesus died at 33. So they make a mockery off of his age. The highest level you can go in Freemasonry is level 33, because God died. Jesus died at age 33. So it's very demonic, and it's deeply satanic, as the songs, all the popular songs, the tunes that get to your head, and the song that's so catchy, they actually pray over these songs, the masters, in temples. You may not know that. Again, the artists all claim to be Beyonce, she's Sasha Fierce, and Rihanna told the people the kids in Barbados, if God doesn't answer your prayers, pray to the devil. And Jay-Z, he's a rock on Pyramid, and then he called him Yeshua. He called him Yeezy, or that's Kanye. But they're very satanic, demonic, evil people. And we follow them. They follow their music. It's a satanic world. I didn't make it that's how we got today, but it's very whitewashed, and it is extremely satanic. All of it, most of it.
Okay, let me move away. I'm asking you to clarify something, because different people have different concepts or understanding. As a gentleman in the Bahamas, I heard one time ago, said he never knew that he was a black man until he went to the United States, because many persons look more at the complexion of one's skin. When you're talking about blackness, are you dealing more with race as opposed to melatonin? For example, the pictures that they've taken of Ellen White, it was my college professor who said, look at her facial features, nose, lips, etc., etc., generally typical of persons of African descent. Now, you can have a marriage, intermarriage, whatever, your complexion is lighter, but are you dealing with, because you made mention of the DNA, and I see your thing on the screen, that blackness, I'm going to use that in a loose format, looking back at genetics as opposed to necessarily complexion. I want you to clarify that before you close.
Okay, and I use the term generally. I must apologize for people, but what I should say is melanation, having melanin, because, and this is for the audience too, they refer to us as monkeys, by the way. I didn't make it up, but they do. When you shave a monkey, any monkey, you'll see underneath you have pink skin. Monkeys don't have melanin. If you shave a dog too, you'll see pink skin like a pig. And the hair is very straight. I am part Indian and 10% white, but my hair is curly still. So monkeys don't have, they have straight hair. Lips. When you look and zero in on a monkey's lips, they're like thin. Melanated people have full, thick lips. And they also did the DNA. I also specialize in DNA. So when you talk about DNA, you talk about haplogroups. They assign haplogroups to people. According to the scientists, A, B, C, D, E, and I'm an E. E is the last box. They're considered melanated Black people. Melanated. The other boxes like J, R, those men are white. And then for women, they have a different classification. L is called Eve. That is a Black woman. And like my wife, she's an H. So she's white, she's an H. So women have a different classification. But when you took a DNA, I should say melanated. I apologize for that. I use Black loosely, but we are melanated people. That means we have melanin, and melanin is a living thing. Melanin is a biochemical in the body. It's not just in the skin, it's in the brain, it's in the tissue. It's melanin. That's what gives us our Black features and made from the Black earth, the natural color of ground. God had made man from snow, unless someone's reading a Bible I didn't see. And again, the earth may be red. As I explained, the flood exposed the earth, the colors of the earth, red, white, yellow, they're part gold. The flood exposed the earth, but the natural color of topsoil, any geologist would tell you, is black. The black, dark brown, black. But I meant to say melanated, as a melanated person with possessing melanin. That's who refer to Black. And DNA, it's A to E in men and L in women. And the opposite, white, is R in men and H in women. So when we talk about DNA groups, that's what I mean. Who is melanated or not? A melanin or melanated.
We're going to have to wrap up here. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's an interesting presentation, something to think about, reflect on our journey here, how we got here. And I always remind when I'm speaking that this is an artist's conception of what this one looked like or that one looked like. Since we have no pictures from that time, you would have to just use your imagination. But thank you so much, Dr. McDonald, and we're glad to have you. I know it's late where you are. He's 6 hours ahead of us, so I'm going to send him to bed. Let's close with prayer. Father, thank you so much for what you have done for us and who you are, a God for all of us. We ask, so Lord, that we may be transformed from the individuals we are into the persons you want us to be, individuals of character. Bless us this evening. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Good evening, everyone, and see you next week, Monday, as we look at another interesting Bible topic. God bless you.
God bless. God bless.
Thank you, Dr. McDonald.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have
Thank
a good
you.
friend, a team on the line with us this evening. His name is James Culmer. Him and I will look at your citizenship when you get back to the Bahamas.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. God bless. God bless.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.